All right, what do Nike, Apple, or Avis have in common? Well, they are examples of successful branding. You can also adopt the concept of branding in your personal life, too. And Brian Joyner and David Boris run the local website, BeBetterGuys.com, and they hosted a workshop recently for a group of teens to explain the value of personal branding and how to achieve it. The guys are here with us in the studio to share their tips with us and to give us some examples of good and bad personal branding. Welcome back. Before we get to good and bad, what is branding, David?
Well, branding it's more than the image that you have. It's the value that you give that people perceive in you. Like for example, Brian and I, we have a personal brand, right? So when people come and talk to Brian and David about Be Better Guys, they know they're going to get some good advice on how to live and act and look better. And also we do it in a funny way, so we hope that people are like, hey, when we leave the room, people are going to say, you know, I like those guys. They gave good advice, and I might have a beer with them. So branding is about what do people say about you when you leave the room.
The image they have of you. Good example would be
our current president. Barack Obama has done one of the greatest branding campaigns I think any of us have ever seen just in the last couple of years. You know, he represents compassion, intelligent leadership. That's what he portrays. This, you know, from all of his writings, the audacity of hope, everything he talks about are the sort of things that immediately resonate with people, and he has been consistent in his message throughout and how he's represented himself.
Okay, quickly, bad example.
Oh, you got to have Alex Rodriguez.
There you go.
This guy he's a public relations personal branding nightmare. I mean, this is a guy, he was the natural. He was the kid when he was first coming up. Right now, I don't think that anybody really perceives a lot of, except a handful of Yankees fans, perceive much value in him at all. And when you are thinking about your own brand, how a guy like what Alex does or what President Obama does and how it relates to you, you got to think about your image, your value, and what are people getting out of you.
And how can you find or define your own personal brand?
I mean, the biggest thing is you have to recognize what it is you do well. Play up on that. What are your skill sets? What do you do well? Talk to the people who you've worked with, employers and coworkers. How do you perceive me? And then polish that. Work on that. Make sure that you're constantly updating your resume. And when I say updating your resume, not just writing on a piece of paper, but engaging in professionally, engaging in new and different activities. You know, strengthening the things you do well, but also bringing new things to the table. Those are the biggest aspects, I would say. And also recognize that the minute you walk out of the room, people are going to have an impression about you. So know what kind of image, know what that is when you walk in. Know what that is when you give your resume, when you put together any sort of cover letter. Also keep in mind that there are all kinds of networking opportunities that people should take advantage of to get their brand out. The biggest problem that a lot of people have is that they may have a good work ethic, they may have a good name, but no one's seen them out anywhere in 2 years, 5 years, stuff like that. People forget about you.
Great information, especially in this climate right now.
Absolutely.
We want you to know when you leave the studio, we only say good things about you.
I hope so.
All right.
And do you want to have a beer with us?
Yeah, there you go. That's key. All right, guys. Brian and David, thanks so much. BeBetterGuys.com is what it's all about. Coming up next on News 4, a long-awaited...